Hi and welcome back to freesciencelessons.co.uk. By the end of this video, you should be able to calculate the concentration of a solution in grams per decimeter cubed. Higher tier students should also be able to explain how the mass of the solute and the volume of the solution affect the concentration. So let's start by looking at what's meant by concentration. The concentration tells us the mass of a solute in a given volume of solution. Now, I should point out that if you're a higher tier student, you learn another definition of concentration as well as this one in a later video. But if you're doing foundation, then you only need to learn this definition. So what's meant by a solute? Well, a solute is a chemical which is dissolved in a solvent, and in chemistry, water is often used as a solvent. The unit of concentration for this definition is grams per decimeter cubed. A decimeter cubed is what used to be called a litre, but scientists don't use that word anymore. Now, we calculate the concentration using this equation. This equation is not in the spec, but I do think it's worth learning. The concentration in grams per decimeter cubed is the mass in grams divided by the volume in decimeters cubed. And here's a triangle to help you learn this. So let's look at a typical question. 200 grams of a chemical is dissolved in water to a final volume of 1 decimeter cubed. Calculate the concentration of the solution. Here's the equation. To find the concentration, we divide the mass in grams by the volume in decimeters cubed. This gives us a final concentration of 200 grams per decimeter cubed. Now, that was quite an easy one, so let's look at something a bit more challenging. 150 grams of a chemical is dissolved in water to a final volume of 0.5 decimeters cubed. Calculate the concentration of the solution. Pause the video and try this yourself. Okay, dividing 150 grams by 0.5 decimeters cubed gives us a final concentration of 300 grams per decimeter cubed. Okay, now in the exam you could be asked to rearrange this equation and calculate the mass of a solute or the volume of a solution. So here's another question for you to try. Calculate the mass of a chemical needed to dissolve in a final volume of 0.4 decimeters cubed to give a concentration of 600 grams per decimeter cubed. Now, to answer this question, it's worth using the triangle. Pause the video and try this yourself. We're calculating mass, so we multiply the concentration by the volume. Multiplying 600 by 0.4 gives us a final mass of 240 grams. Here's one more question for you to try. Calculate the final volume of a solution containing 200 grams of a chemical with a concentration of 800 grams per decimeter cubed. Here's a triangle. Pause the video and try this yourself. Okay, we're calculating the volume, so we need to divide the mass by the concentration. 200 grams divided by 800 grams per decimeter cubed gives us a final volume of 0.25 decimeters cubed. Now, if you're a higher student, you need to be able to explain how the mass of the solute and the volume of the solution affect the concentration. Here are the two facts that you need to know. If we increase the mass of solute and keep the volume the same, then we increase the concentration. If we increase the volume of the solution and keep the mass of the solute the same, then we decrease the concentration. Remember that you'll find plenty more questions on concentration in my revision workbook, which you can get by clicking on the link above. Okay, so hopefully now you should be able to calculate the concentration of a solution in grams per decimeter cubed, and if you're a higher tier student, you should be able to explain how the mass of the solute and the volume of the solution affect the concentration.